Welcome to the Vikrant. Myself Dr. Pichitilinappa. Today we are going to discuss about application layer. In this application layer, there are so many components are there. The first component is domain name system. Domain name system is a hierarchical and distributed naming system used to translate human readable domains into machine readable IP addresses and vice versa. This is called as the DNS, domain name system, which means so whenever we are searching something through the website, let us assume www.example.com, but system unable to understand www.example.com. So what it will do? So it will convert the domain names into machine readable IP addresses, which is called as the domain name system. There are some key components are there in the domain name system. The first one, DNS server. DNS servers are responsible for storing and managing the DNS records, and as well mapping between the domain names and IP addresses. And there are different types of DNS servers are there: authoritative and recursive server, cache servers are there. These are the three servers are there. Next component is DNS resolution process. When a user enters domain name in a web browser, the DNS resolution process begins. Third one, DNS resolver. DNS resolver is a map and name onto an IP addresses. DNS records. DNS records are data entries stored in DNS server that provide information about domain name system. So this is the domain name space. This DNS system is going to be divided into two categories. One is the generic and next one is the countries. General purpose, you are using the top level domain will be called as the generic purpose, as well as the countries. In this case, in case of generic, so these are the some of the websites are there: .com, .edu, .gov. So like that, generally we are using these are the some of the components. The same way at the top level domain, one more part we can call it as the countries, like .in, .uk, .jp, .us. So like that, this is a so hierarchy level structure: root level, top level, secondary level. Like that, the keep on it is going to be used. Domain name records. Domain name records. Every domain, whether it is a single host or top level domain, can have set of resource records associated with it. These records are the DNS database. For example, for a single host, the most common resource records is just IP address, but many other kinds of resource records also exist. When a resolver gives a domain name to the DNS, what it gets back are the resource records associated with that name. Primary function of the DNS is to map domain names onto the resource records. A resource record is a five tuple like domain name, time to live, class, type, value. So these are the some of the components are there. Domain name tells the domain to which this record is applies. Time to live field gives an indication of so how stable record is. This is one process how domain names are going to be converted into IP address. The first one, step one, whenever we enter www.example.1, it is received by the DNS recursive resolver. Next, this is going to be sent to the at the top level, I mean root level domain www.example.com. From the root level, so we will get IP address of the .com. Then of the top level domain. Then again www.example.com is going to be sent to the top level domains, which is called as a .com and .edu and .net, .org. Then we will get the IP address of the name server. Again we will send the for the second level domains www.example.com. Then we will get the complete IP address from the so authoritative name server. Then That IP address is going to be sent to the DNS recursive resolver. Then this IP address is going to be sent to the our device. Then the HTTP and HTTP request, HTTP response is going to be started from then onwards. This is the complete process of the domain name system. And remote login, in the internet, users may want to run application programs at the remote sites and create the results that can transfer to their local sites. So programs such as file transfer protocols, email, SMTP protocols are currently available in the remote login system. Telnet and time sharing environment, logging, these are the some of the things. The file transfer protocol. File transfer protocol is the standard mechanism provided by the TCP/IP for a copying file from one host to the so another host. Two systems may have different ways to represent text and data. Two systems may have different directory structures. All these problems have been resolved by the file transfer protocol in a very simple and elegant approach. FTP differs from the other clients or server applications in that it establishes two connections between the host. The one connection is used for data transfer, other connection used for control information, which is commands and response purposes. For that purpose, we are using the two ports. Port number 21 is used for the control connection and port number 20 is used for the data connection. This is the small scenario represented by this diagram. Email, electronic mail is very popular one, and we can communicate one to one or we can communicate through the emails. A message transfer protocols specifies so how one email server is establishes a connection to the another email server. There are several mail transfer protocols used in the computer networks for sending and receiving email messages. The two primary mail transfer protocols are SMTP and ESMTP, extended SMTP, Post Office Protocol and IMAP protocol. So these are the three protocols are there. One is the sending purpose, we are using the SMTP. For receiving purpose, we are using the POP or IMAP protocol. This is one scenario. So how we can send the message? Sender wants to send the one message through by using the SMTP protocol for the sender side mail server, and sender side mail server is going to be received via by using the POP or IMAP protocol. So this is the way we can send two simple mail protocols. So this is the way there are two persons, one is the Alice and Bob are going to be communicating each other via through mail communication. So the difference between the post office protocol and IMAP is there are some limitations are there in the post office protocol. POP does not allow the users to create the folders and organize mails on the server. POP3 does not allow users to partially check the content of the email before downloading. So these are the some of the limitations of the POP. POP has some of the phases. One is the authorization phase and transaction phase, updation phase. These are some of the phases. And second part of the fourth unit is network management system. We can define network management system as monitoring, testing, configuring, and troubleshooting network components to meet a certain requirements defined by an organization. To accomplish this task, network management system uses hardware, software, and humans. The network management system can be divided into five categories. The first one is the configuration, and in that configuration you can use the reconfiguration documentation and fault management, reactive and proactive, and performance management, capacity, profit, throughput, response time, security management, accounting management. These are the some of the uh, functions in the network management systems. Next, Simple Network Management Protocol SNMP is a framework for managing devices in an internet using the TCP/IP protocol suite. It provides set of fundamental operations for monitoring as well as the maintaining the internet. So it uses manager and agent concept. The manager, usually we can call it as a host, controls and monitors set of agents. Agents, usually we can call it as a routers. So manager is a host, router is a agent. So SNMP is a application level protocol manufacturers and installed on a different physical networks, and it can be used in the heterogeneous internet made of different LANs and MANs connected by routers made by the different manufacturers. And managers, agents, management stations, we can call it as a manager, which is controlled by the host SNMP client program, and managed station, we can call it as the agent, which is called as the router SNMP server program. The agent keeps performance information in a database. Manager has access to the values in the database. The manager can fetch and compare the values of those two variables to see if the router is congested or not. Manager can also make a router to perform certain actions. For example, router periodically checks the value of the reboot counter to see when it should be reboot itself, the counter becomes 1. The agent can also contribute to the management process, and it can send the wrong message called as the trap. So, in other words, management with the SNMP is the based on the three basic ideas. One is the requesting information, resetting, and management process. These are the some of the these are the components of the management. The first one is the SMI, structure of management information base. SNMP defines the format of exchange, manager and agents. So this is the way how the SNMP message looks like: version, header, security parameters, context, engine ID, context name, request ID, error status, error index, object identification, object identifier, value to be stored.